So before we begin, can I please mention something? It's finally great to meet Dr. Kaul and Dr. Reshma Rana. I have never had the good fortune of meeting them since my grant was from SICI Canada. But it feels great to meet them, albeit virtually. So thank you.
Thank you, Anmol. I hope you had a great experience.
Oh, I did. Yeah, lovely. Thanks to Shastri, which I am going to share today. So thank you, ma'am.
Yes, excellent.
Dr. Sudha, please unmute yourself. I think you're speaking, but we are not able to hear you. Please unmute yourself. Yes, yes.
I was just saying that it's wonderful to see Dr. Kaur because we have only interacted through the name, so it's nice to
Absolutely, yeah.
the name. So it's great to actually see you, and I look forward to hearing you today.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sudhaji. Thank you, Sudhaji. This is an opportunity for me as well, because many a times when there is a award that is being conferred from our Canada office, we do not have that opportunity to invite all of you. Maybe in future we can make an arrangement to meet all of you, those who are awardee from the Canadian end as well, because we do have an orientation program for the scholars who are awarded by India Office of the Institute. So sure, let this pandemic go away, and then we will create such an opportunity that we can all meet.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate that we are now adjusting and we have no other way to adjust to this new normal, and we consider this meeting over virtual platform as a meeting, which is really unfortunate, but then we have no other option. But I hope that
fortunately we are also able to make use of the technology and able to at least see each other, and I think that's one thing which is the best silver lining, in all the cases that we have today in Mumbai. Yeah.
So absolutely, I also look forward, and I'm sure integrating scholars and considering them as one is very important for the institute. So we will have an opportunity by which we can meet all of you, whether the grant was disbursed by Canada or by India. To have all of you together and understand your experience over the other experiences that the grant recipients who were from India.
Absolutely, because I think something similar exists as far as Fulbright is also concerned, because I also have the good fortune of being a senior Fulbright scholar. So I think, so the Fulbright House has often, organized for such collaborations, and one has also gone and spoken, to different younger audiences regarding one's experience, and also about, how to draft a particular research proposal. What are the most essential ingredients that goes into a research proposal, what to do, what not to do. So I think those are quite important. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we have a couple of webinars in last couple of months when since we started this getting into this pandemic situation. So these are there housed on YouTube channel of the institute. So anybody who's interested in those kind of inputs, I suggest that they visit YouTube channel of the institute. There are these webinars deposits that can exist. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Now, with the permission of Dr. Smita Shukla and also Professor Manjiri Kamath, our Associate Dean, Professor of History, Department of History, I would like to begin with session. It's exactly 4 o'clock. And I welcome you all on behalf of the IQAC University of Mumbai and Shastri Indo-Canadian Institutes University Center to this third absolutely, vibrant carnival of researchers. And today is an important day because today's session is mainly on Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute's uh, research grants, which have been a very close, issue to our hearts since we have had this long, relationship with Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute. It's more than 15 years that we have had this association, and we are all thrilled, to experience the talks by these scholars that we have today. On this note, and also very importantly, like in Marathi, there's a very old saying. I'll also translate it for those who do not follow Marathi. Is that sadhu santa eti ghara tochi Diwali tochi Dasra. It simply means that the day when you have a sage, a scholarly person, a wise person visiting your house, that is the day of celebration. And today we really have that wonderful occasion where we have all the scholars and researchers, stalwarts in different areas, who have come together to guide us, to enlighten us with their insights and experience. So on this note, I welcome all to this session, and I request my colleague Dr. Smita Shukla to propose introductory note. Dr. Smita Shukla, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin. Good afternoon to Dr. Prachi Kaul, Director, Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute. Good afternoon, ma'am. I also welcome Professor Manjri Kamath, who is Associate Dean, University of Mumbai, Faculty of Humanities, and also faculty member and professor at Department of History, University of Mumbai. I welcome my very scholarly colleague, Professor Sudha Mohan, who has been recipient of Faculty Training and Internationalization Program, SICI. I welcome Ms. Anmol Datta, a student participant and also a winner of the Shastri Grant. And I welcome all participants from various university departments, University of Mumbai, affiliated colleges, other colleges and universities from various parts of the country. We received 185 plus registrations for this program, and I believe there will be more participants joining in soon. This webinar, as Dr. Sachin stated, is third and the last webinar in the series of 3 webinars which University of Mumbai IQAC organized jointly with Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute with an objective of acquainting faculty members and research students about international fellowship and scholarship opportunities. Day 1, we had a kind of briefing session on Humboldt scholarship, German. Then day 2, we had discussion on Fulbright scholarship, and today here we are discussing about Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute grants. Just to give a brief about the center which we have at university and which Dr. Sachin Labde is heading. Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute is a bi-national organization which is funded jointly by Government of India and Government of Canada. And it's a very proud privilege for us to be associated with the Institute as a university center. And this association is almost 15 years old. We started this journey with the Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute way back in 2005. And the first coordinator from university side was Dr. Kumi Vivania. University of Mumbai has benefited from this association. First time, if I have to list out some of the benefits and the grants which we have received in our association with Shastri Indo-Canadian Center, I like to refer and talk about Indo-Canadian Studies Library Program benefit, through which we received books in the year 2006 to 2013. Then under Collaborative Research Grant Project Scheme, we had visiting a scholar, Dr. Simon Collins from University of Quebec, Montreal in 2016-17 at Department of French. Then faculty members of our university departments, which includes Dr. Kumi Vivania, Professor Vidya Venkatesan, Professor Sudha Mohan, who is there with us today, then Dr. Renu Modi. They all have been recipient of Faculty Training and Internationalization Program. 3 students of University of Mumbai have benefited from the grants. 2 of them, I believe, are present today. One, surely, Ms. Anmol Datta. In addition to that, we also have in midst of us is Ms. Lavanya from Department of English. Then in 2018-19, 2 faculty members from affiliated colleges also benefited from the program, which is Ms. Tabassum Khan and Rohini Banerjee, who benefited under Shastri Mobility Program. Then we also have been recipient of Shastri Membership Development Fund, SMDF, for year 2018 and 19. And this journey and tie which we have with Shastri Indo-Canadian Center continues and is growing thicker year by year. So thank you, Dr. Prachi Kaul. Welcome you all. And I'm looking forward to a very fruitful discussion, deliberation, and guidance session today. Over to you, Dr. Sachin Labde.
Ma'am, thank you very much for this very elaborate note on Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute's romantic love affair with the University of Mumbai. And I'm sure that this is going to continue for many, many years in the time to come. Thank you once again. And we have our Associate Dean, Professor Dr. Manjiri Kamath, who's joined us. I really would like to begin with an apology. I actually initially thought that I'll, briefly introduce Dr. Kamath, but when I went through her profile, which runs for more than 6 pages, and I just felt, I was very humbled to see that. And summarizing is, though it's it's an art of a teacher of language, I must say that I have failed in summarizing her achievements. So such a scholarly person she is. Those who feel demotivated, they must sometimes visit such profiles and see the kind of achievements that Professor Kamath has had. And these are dynamic as Sachin Tendulkar's career as a cricketer. So wonderful a career graph that we have. She has published and published with international publishers in international journals. She has been recipient of not 1 or 2 or 3, but it's more than 8 different awards and grants, and she has been associated with various international organizations. This is how I can summarize. I'm really sorry I'm not doing justice to it, but we are really honored to have Professor Manjiri Kamath with us, who besides all these things, is a very down-to-earth, very motivating colleague. Whenever you meet, she will greet you, and with humility. And that is the best part that I have experienced with Professor Dr. Kamath. So, ma'am, without taking much of your time, I would request you to address us and all the participants. Over to you, Professor Kamath.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Labde, for that very generous introduction. Right at the outset, I would like to congratulate Dr. Smita Shukla and Dr. Sachin Labde for organizing this webinar series. And today is the 3rd session in the series that we've been having for the last 2 days. I would like to give a very warm welcome to Dr. Prachi Kaul, who is the director of the Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute, New Delhi. I'm delighted to welcome here my dear colleague and very good friend, Dr. Sudha Mohan, the former professor and head Department of Civics and Politics and recipient of the Shastri Faculty Training and Grant, Ms. Anmol Datta and Ms. Lavanya. What I would like to say in this brief introductory address is that listening to Sachin now, I was transported to many years ago when I myself was a recipient of a scholarship. Are you able to hear me now? Am I audible now?
Yes, madam, now you are. Yes.
Sorry, there was a problem with the connection. So many years ago, I was a recipient of a similar scholarship from the Cambridge Commonwealth Trust. And it's one of the most enriching and most beautiful experiences of my life to be in another country, another university for the higher degrees of MPhil and PhD. So that is why I'm doubly delighted that we are having a webinar here, mainly to encourage faculty members and students to know about the various grants which are available, and moreover to apply for them. As we know, we've had a very long association with the Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute, and I can't but help recalling the name of my former teacher, who is no more. But I must say on this occasion that Professor J.V. Naik, our teacher and former professor and head of the Department of History, I think was one of the first recipients of the Shastri fellowship many years ago. This is, I think, before the center started in our university, much before that. And we heard a lot about his experiences in Canada from him. And after that, we've had many of our faculty members who Dr. Shukla has mentioned, one of them being right here, Dr. Sudha Mohan, who has been a recipient, Dr. Vivaina, Dr. Modi, and others. So the first important thing I'm happy about is this is a platform, these 3 days, and particularly today, when we are going to know more from Dr. Prachi Kaul about these various grants and programs of the Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute, so that there is awareness and knowledge amongst faculty and researchers about these grants. I think that's very important, particularly, I mean, it's the IQAC which has taken the lead along with the Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute University Center. We know how important it is with regard to NAC, NIRF, this, and also for the quality benchmarks of any good university, especially such a historic an old university like ours, which has completed 164 years and which has had a galaxy of alumni who have contributed in a big way across the fields. So I think it's very important at this point in time to have this particular webinar and inform our faculty and researchers about these grants which are available. The last thing I would like to say on this occasion is the present context in which we all are meeting. And we all are meeting in a context of COVID-19, which has not just affected one country, but which has affected the whole world. So briefly, I would like to touch upon what this means for, for all of us. Now, in the context of the COVID-19, there were some ideas which I shared with the Association of Commonwealth universities, and I think many of the Canadian universities, like Indian universities, are members of that particular body. We had a workshop in the university in February on blended learning. And little did we know at that time that this would be so fast forwarded that we would actually be thinking about it not a couple of months in advance, but weeks after that particular event. So COVID-19, I think, has brought about a paradigm shift in the world, and particularly when it comes to the scholarship and fellowships, whether it is by the Humboldt fellowships or Fulbright, and in today's context, Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute's fellowships. I think these are my own reflections. What is happening now is, yes, on the one hand, we are all grappling with a very difficult situation, across the world. But at the same time, on the other hand, there are several doors which are opening to us, several opportunities which are opening to us. Here itself today, I don't think without this situation, we would be assembling in this manner. And we've again have a record number of participants, for today's, for today's session. So it's a world in which there are new opportunities, doors are opening, and particularly when it comes to the, fellowships, international fellowships, I think that it's a world without boundaries today. And the other thing which I think will happen is, rather than a flow from one part of the world to the other, in this particular instance, we see students going, from India and many of the countries in the global south to European countries. I think what's going to happen in the future is there will be an exchange which is a two-way exchange, and rightly I'm happy to see that the Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute facilitates this kind of exchange, between the countries. So I'm seeing a future in which there are students and there are fellows from other countries or from Canada who in larger numbers who are going to apply, to Indian universities and vice versa. So I think that's a very exciting kind of prospect. It will also encourage, I think, dual degree programs and many other, possibilities which were there, but I think now we are going to see it in a larger sort of proportion. The second kind of thing which I see happening is more enrollment of what we call as mature students. So earlier in our conventional classrooms, I remember I almost every other day greet Dr. Labade on the ground floor English department before we go to our, history or other departments on the other floors. So in our conventional classroom today, we have students who are of a particular age group. I think what's going to happen now is we'll have more students from, from across the age groups and more mature students, which I think is a welcome change in our virtual classrooms of tomorrow. And, even for the fellowships, I think in today's, what we are going to discuss, I think the reach will be to a larger sort of audience, precisely because of this webinar organized by Dr. Shukla and Dr. Labade. It's going to reach a larger kind of an audience. And the last thing I would like to end my introductory address is by saying that so far, this is my, own observation when I went to Cambridge, that I found it was particularly certain universities or certain cities from which research fellows and students were seen in that university. So probably more, more fellows or students from Delhi and Calcutta, or metros like Mumbai. I think what's going to happen as a result of this webinar organized by the IQAC and the Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute University Center, Mumbai, is that there will be more of outreach to our, other areas in our Mumbai University jurisdiction. So for example, we have, the Thane Kalyan areas, we have Palghar, we have Sindhudurg. So I would be very happy, if as a result of these webinars, we can reach out to academics, to faculty, to researchers in those areas who would now be able to apply for these kind of grants. And again, I think because of these platforms which we are using right now, even I have enrolled in the FDP, which Dr. Shukla and the IQAC has organized. So languages and many other barriers are breaking down because technology is enabling. This morning, as Dr. Bhanushree was talking, we could see it being translated right in front in our screens. And the same is happening for the different languages. So it's a world without boundaries, and a lot of new opportunities are opening up to us. And once again, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Shukla and Dr. Labade for inviting me here. And I thank Dr. Prachi Kaul for accepting our invitation and coming, joining us today to introduce us to the various grants programs of the Institute. And I also thank Dr. Sudha Mohan and Ms. Anmol Datta and Ms. Lavanya for joining us here today. I give my very best wishes on behalf of higher authorities for the success of today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kamath, for your insightful, address, and the suggestions that you've made that how to expand the programs that we have and the benefits of the grants and fellowships. And since we also have Dr. Prachi Kaul joining us, she will definitely have certain ideas that she can share with us and make this program as popular as possible, so that more and more institutes, individuals benefit. And in the benefit of these institutions, it will be the benefit of our society in general. So once again, thank you very much for this wonderful address. And without now taking much time, I would like to move to our very first speaker, Dr. Prachi Kaul, Director of Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute. But before that, I would like to briefly introduce her. I just felt that I tried my level best to do a lot of Google search and find more details, but it seems that Dr. Prachi Kaul does not share her profile details on social platforms. So what here I have is just a little about Dr. Prachi Kaul, which I would like to share with you. That Dr. Prachi Kaul is the director of Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute for its office in India. And she has been associated with the Institute for more than 14 years now. As alumni of IIT Delhi, Dr. Kaul has served to international and national bodies like Plan International and National University of Educational Planning and Administration before joining the Shastri Institute. She is a social scientist with keen interest in studying aspirations and local social mobility of masses and its relation to higher education. Dr. Kaul serves on advisory boards of a couple of academic and research institutions, and also on Education Committee of India-Canada Chamber of Commerce. Besides this, which is not mentioned in her bio note, is that she is an absolutely dynamic leader. It is in her leadership, and there will be no denial of this. We also have a witness with us, that is Madam Reshma Rana, who is kind enough to join us, that it is under her leadership that Shastri institutes activities have reached out to many institutes, many colleges, many of us. So the credit goes to this dynamic leadership of Dr. Prachi Kaul. Dr. Prachi Kaul, we are very happy to have you with us on this occasion. I warmly welcome you on behalf of the University of Mumbai IQAC Center, IQAC, as well as Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute's University Center. And now the floor is yours, Dr. Prachi Kaul.
Thank you so much, Sachin, for this wonderful introduction. I can only say that whatever I do, whatever I place, it's our academic and research fraternity that is there in my heart and actions as well. So I need, it's not so that I need no introduction, it's just that, I think the better introduction is that you get to know us. Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry. There was some disturbance. Yeah, please, ma'am, please continue.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, Sachin, once again for your kind introduction. I am glad that I'm being part of this particular platform by which we will be able to, reach out to the mass strength of faculty and researchers of University of Mumbai and its colleges and its different campuses that we may not have been able to, connect with if it was a normal time, and if it was a normal time when physical presence was required. So this virtual platform has actually increased the extent of our reaching out to very many people, those who are interested in participating on exploring programs like Shastri Institute or Humboldt program or Fulbright program, as you have just stated. I would formally like to thank IQAC and Dr. Kamath, Dr. Shukla, Dr. Sudha Mohan, Dr. Labade for sure, and also the two young women, I would say young ladies, those who are the recipient of Shastri Awards, Lavanya and Anmol, for being here and arranging for this platform that can be served as a dissemination for Shastri Institute's activities and programs. So once again, accept my sincere thanks, and I also like to extend my thanks to the participants who are here. I see that there are 75 attendees who have joined us for this webinar. I think even 7, if out of this webinar, even if 7 gets motivated to apply for any program and grant that we offer, my purpose is served. So with that aspiration in mind, I think it's time to begin the presentation. I think I will briefly talk about the institute and special programming that is in place for the faculty and students. And thereon, if there are questions, we can take up further towards the end of it. So can we have the presentation ready, Reshma? So while she's making it placed, just would like to share that University of Mumbai is long associate of Shastri Institute. I remember, joining as and when I joined Shastri Institute in 2004, I think, and meeting for the very first workshop in Dr. Kumi Bebena. She was heading the Canadian Studies Center. So I think Canadian Studies Center at University of Mumbai started way back around 20 years back or so. And thereon, they continued to deliver wonderful research of binational nature, where in Canada was an integral part. And there have been very many awardees from University of Mumbai, from different centers, different departments. To begin with, of course, I remember Dr. Nair, never got an opportunity to see him but in person, but I think we have interacted over emails and phone calls. So we have a long legacy and we have a long-term association with the University of Mumbai. And in 2005, when we became binational and we started seeking membership from the Indian institutions, and University of Mumbai was one of the first batch of institutions that joined the Shastri Institute's Indian Member Council. So we are very proud associate, and we take pride in sharing your achievement. And when I say your achievement, I think that these we consider as ours as well, because someday if we are able to contribute to building of research, building of collaboration, internationalization of your campus, I think we have contributed some bit to your growth. So presentation is in. If you can expand this, Reshma, for us.
Is it visible? I have shared. I mean, the PPT is shared.
Yeah, so it's not in slideshow mode, Just
Reshma
go on
ji,
slideshow.
Yes.
Please click on slideshow.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. And yeah, from beginning, the first option.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, it's these are a few slides. There are many slides. I'll skip in between because I don't want to take more time. It's better that we devote some time for question answer session as well. So here are opportunities and partnership that we have in place for scholars from India and Canada. Everything that I'm going to talk about relates to India as well as Canada, because we have a member council which represents 154 institutions, 114 from India side and 40 from Canada side. So if you have a colleague over there in Canada, or if you have a student who you wish to take as a co-supervisor or so, you can encourage them to participate in these activities. Of course, the prerequisite is that they have to be part of our Shastri Institute's member council. What is Shastri Institute? It was a joint vision of two prime ministers, our second Prime Minister, Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, and Mr. Elizabeth Pearson, who was the Prime Minister of Canada during the time when the institute was incepted. Next slide, please. So it so happened that our Prime Minister, Prime Minister Shastri ji, visited Canada in 1966 to deliver a convocation speech at McGill University in Quebec in Canada. And he expressed during his convocation speech, he expressed a desire to have a platform wherein, you know, such kind of collaboration, such kind of partnership can be built up between the academia and research fraternity of India and Canada. Soon after his return, you know, in a tragic incident, as we all know, he passed away. And as a homage to our Canadian Prime Minister, Mr. Pearson incepted this institute in Canada. So we are actually registered in Canada with two offices, one in Canada and one in India, in New Delhi. And in the year 1968, the inception happened actually. A brief about us, I mean, it's a binational organization. For those who are first time listening to this, to what Shastri is all about, I think it is important for them to understand it's the only binational organization on this corridor between India and any other nation because we have a mandate from both the sides, both the government side, and none of the other program you would experience that they have two-way binational structure in terms of its offices that are operating from both the sides. We have been in existence for 50 years. We have in 2018 celebrated our Golden Jubilee, and the broad-based initiative of Shastri is to support and create binational linkages between academia, government, business community, and civil society organizations. We provide opportunities for individuals to gain first-hand experience, whether it is India or in Canada, from both the sides, and we have till date awarded millions of dollars to faculties and students. Good part is that our focus lies amongst the younger lot of scholars and students. So if I get 100 rupees from Government of India, I spend 70 rupees on programming that is meant for younger scholars and students. SICI alumni, the unofficial ambassadors of Canada in India, and vice versa. So the three alumni, the three awardees that are present with us today, all those wonderful researchers, women researchers, I'm proud to say that they are ambassadors of Canada in India now, once they have returned from there and have imbibe the Canadian values as well, along with the Indian values. And similarly, when a Canadian national comes to India over research or for any other activity, and when they go back to Canada, they become an ambassador of, you know, India in Canada. Next slide, please. The mission is to build and strengthen intellectual and cultural linkages between Canada and India through facilitating high-class research, dialogue, exchange, and dissemination. Next, please. Just a historical revolution, not much of your interest, but how the Institute was evolved is very important for everyone who wants to go deep into the Institute's inception and its growth. You can see these, you know, this historical evolution here on the slide. Next slide, please. This is the growth that you can see on the screen. Started in 1968 with 3 founding members, University of British Columbia, McGill, and University of Toronto. By the year 2004, we were 27, and this was the historical, there was a historical incident by which, you know, we became truly binational. The board of the institute became truly reflecting of binational component, wherein 3 executive council members from India side and 3 from Canada side. They are elected people, and the presidency of the institute rotates between India and Canada each year. And if you talk about year 2020, we are now 154, 114 from India side and 40 from Canada side. And you name a good institution, I take pride in saying that you name a good institution, it is there, a part of our Indian or Canadian member council. So we are 54 It's this exponential growth in last 5 years, I would say. And I think all depends the way Shastri Institute is moving forward in terms of engaging, in terms of bringing in new directions, bringing in new challenges for the scholars and new initiatives that are actually of interest to academic and research fraternity in India and Canada. And that's why institutions are more and more coming up and willing to join the member council. It is really, really tough. Parameters are very, very high in terms of standards. So it has to be a NAC A accredited college or university. It has to be in top 100 NIR of ranking. Only then you are able to apply for the member to become part of Indian Member Council or Canadian Member Council. So this is the structure of the institute by which we operate, taking in account our member institutions. Go further, please. Before we proceed for programs, I thought it would be good that we go through the COVID-19 policy. This year is an exceptional year, as Dr. Kamath was also saying, that it has challenged us, the academic fraternity and research fraternity, in all ways possible to convene and conduct activities, especially if it is an international program for which the mobility was a kind of an integral feature, and mobility plays an important role in terms of true understanding, in terms of becoming and imbibing the true value of the program that we have in place for all of you. But unfortunately, because of this pandemic situation, we will not be able to allow you to travel to Canada or allow you to bring in a Canadian scholar to your university in any sooner, in near future. I don't see that happening because international borders are still sealed, and we see no indication of these being open till in next 2 to 3 months time for sure. Though the campuses are being opened from the autumn session in Canada, and gradually I think India is also gearing up and preparing for reopening of academic institutions and research organizations, but still, most of activities would be happening virtually on hybrid mode. So this year we have placed in this precondition that all researches and all activities would be happening through virtual mode. And if it is a program like Institutional Collaborative Research Grant, which is a multi-year grant for which the mobility component can be kept for the next year and not for this year when the situation is grim in terms of pandemic. So please go to the website of the Institute to understand the nuances stated there in the COVID-19 policy of the program. Go further, please. So this is a presentation wherein we have tried to focus on different groups of researchers. First is student and research scholars, and we have a couple of programs that are meant for this particular group, which is Shastri Research Student Fellowship, and that is for undergrads and grads. When I say undergrad, it is bachelor's program, and when I say grad, it means master's program, and along with that, doctoral and postdoctoral awards as well. So the second program is MITAC-SICKI partnership. In the year 2019, we have signed an MOU with MITAC Canada, and we have partnership which enables Global Link research internship, undergraduate and undergraduate students are eligible for this program. Also, students, those who are registered for integrated program, like their 5-year integrated program for law or like BTech or MTech, those kind of programs can also be, entertained under this particular program. Another program is Global Link Research Award Program, which is meant for the grad level. which means master's and PhD as well as postdoctoral level. Another grant which encourages you to publish your work that you have done in between India and Canada, and that can be facilitated through Shastri Publication Grant. Go next, Reshma. For the window of opportunity for faculty and academic administrators, there are many programs that they can explore, and I would like to specify here and highlight here that all these programs have a component by which you can involve your younger faculty, your young researchers, even your undergrad and grad students can be part of these projects and activities that you want to apply for through Shastri funding. So first is Shastri Mobility Program, which enables you to be in Canada. This year is an exception, of course, so you can do many activities through this program. You can co-teach a course with a Canadian faculty. You can do a collaborative research, a short research project can be undertaken by you. You can convene a series of seminars. You can do workshops with them. You can do enormous activities, and in terms of scope, there is no limit to it, and we do not construct you. The beauty of the program is that we do not construct faculty to confine to our ideas. We challenge you to bring in a new program, challenge you to bring in new idea and place it to the institute, and we take good note of that if we see that the idea is something that can be, generated well amongst this amongst the faculty between India and Canada. So I think it is time for you people to nurture the ideas and place it to the Shastri Institute for its funding. So faculty mobility program is for the faculty who wish to go to Canada. Because this particular webinar is meant for University of Mumbai, so I'm telling you this way that you can go to Canada and bring in the enrichment from that end. But this is a program that also enables Canadian faculty to come here. So if there's a plan, if you want to invite, there's a program that you offer to your undergrad or grad, you can also encourage your friends and colleagues from Canadian universities to apply for this grant, and that would enable them to come down or virtually teach a course or whatever activities you can envisage for them to undertake. So this is a two-way process. Any program that I'm going to talk about or I have talked about is open for both the ends, scholars from both the ends, whether it is India or from Canada side. Second program, this program also have a component that is for faculty administrators, those who are like deans, directors and heads, those who wants to pursue or wants to understand good practice and try to bring in the enrichment from the Canadian end to Indian end. The challenges are different, and so are the issues, but I think, and also the solutions to those challenges. But then there are always a point wherein I think we can meet and understand how we can learn from each other's experiences. So this particular faculty mobility, Shastri Faculty Mobility Program enables educational administrators to go to Canada and bring their experience to your institutions as well. Second program for faculty is Shastri Program Development Grant. And another challenge that we place to faculty that if you want to develop a program of your choice, if we want to organize a workshop, if you want to organize any academic event for that matter, bringing in 50% Canadian and 50% Indian component into it, you are most welcome to do that. And this program development grant is initiated to ignite the interest among the younger lot of researchers as well. So when there's an event happening at University of Mumbai or any other place, we wish to have more participation from the younger faculty as well as from the student side, so that they can understand what Canada is all about in a particular discipline, in a particular domain of knowledge, they can understand what Canada has to offer or what can be done with Canada. So building up interest is one important feature of this particular program, which is known as Program Development Grant. So please explore this. I would say that's been one of the most sought program in terms that allows you to create a program of your own. This has enormous opportunity, I would say, because it also allows you to make your group of students move to Canada or bring in Canadian students to your institute. So as I said, that Shastri programming, the best thing about Shastri programming is that we do not provide you a window that you have to confine to your window. We have no windows or doors, so it is all open, and you can flow in your ideas and thoughts to make it a wonderful project and submit to us. And if it clicks to us, clicks to the peer reviewers and adjudicators, you get the grant. So explore the opportunity that we have in form of, program development grant. Another program for, faculty development program for vocational education. We have, this is a program that we have introduced in the year 2016 and 17, but gained popularity only from last year because of the much emphasis that Government of India and Government of Canada, of course, have been, flowing in this direction of vocational and skill-based learning. So this allows you to get yourself trained in Canada and come back and train the trainers. So it's like you get enrichment, come here and enrich others. So this is a kind of arrangement. This also allows you to bring in a Canadian faculty who has an expertise in the area wherein expertise is lacking at the Indian end. So you can bring them in, conduct a workshop for the trainers, and when they are trained, they can go to respective places and enrich the students or younger lot of faculty. So another very interesting component of Shastri programming is this one. Shastri Institutional Collaborative Research Grant is one of the most sought program, and it's a multi-year grant. It's a 2-year grant by which you can, because this gives you a scope to carry out your research for longer duration. That's why it is very, very popular amongst the established researchers, I would say. When I say established researcher, I don't mean to discourage the younger lot of faculty, because we are encouraging you to take the lead now and bring in established professors as your advisors and as your team. So I would say this is a grant that allows you to carry out your research in true collaboration. There has to be 2 partners, 2 collaborators, 2 investigators, one from India side and the other one from Canada side. There has to be 1 principal investigator. The difference between principal investigator and co-investigator is that the grant will be disbursed to principal investigator. We do not come in between in terms of disbursement of funds. So if it's 10 lakhs of Indian rupees that need to be disbursed, we disburse that, and we do not get into the picture how you want to spend money in terms of what percentage of the grant should be going to Canada or what percentage should be spent in India. It's amongst the 2 collaborators. It's their decision to take if they would like the money to be spent in India or Canada, or how they would like the money to be spent. So we give full authority, full autonomy for you to make your expenditure, and you just need to mention this in your budgetary details when you are submitting the application form. Very, very competitive program. I would say all programs are highly competitive. This program is highly, highly competitive. Why I'm saying this? Because I want you to be mentally prepared, and I want you to be prepared fully while you are submitting your application, because there is not going to be any personal interview. So you have to pen down each and every detail so eloquently that proposals are read and understood very well by the fraternity who are going to be reading these. And initially the proposals are read by the peer reviewers, which means the subject experts are going to be, and there are going to be 3 subject experts for each application. It's a tremendous job that Shastri has to undertake, by which each and every application is sent to 3 reviewers, and this review is blind review. So we do not disclose the identity of the scholar. We just send the proposal, the subject matter, and it is evaluated on that basis. These 3 evaluators, maybe 1 from India and 2 from Canada, or 2 from Canada and 1 from India side. Once the review is done, then your application, if successfully makes to the second round of application, then sent to the adjudicators, which has 4 adjudicators, 2 from India side and 2 from Canada side. Now, subject experts read the subject content, but the whole application is sent to the adjudicators for holistic evaluation, which means they would be knowing your name, they would be knowing your affiliation, they would be reading your letter of affiliation, letter of introduction. So you have to be very particular in terms of placing all the documents very well. So these are the people who may or may not be from your domain of knowledge. So the language and the expression of the application should be placed in such a manner that it is being read by the people who knows nothing about your subject. So it has to be very, very expressive in terms of detail. Like if I'm a social scientist, I have given a project to review on robotics, it has to have a component that can be read and understood and comprehended by me as well. So please ensure that the proposals are written well and developed well. I suggest that a peer review internally at your end is a good suggestion. Once you are done with your proposal, please share with your colleagues and friends for their reviews, especially from the people who are subject experts, as well those who are not subject experts in your area, so that you can get generic understanding of your proposal, whether whether the people who are going to read it are going to comprehend well or not, or whether the message that you want to convey is sent in an eloquent manner or not. So this is all about institutional collaborative research grant, and what I talked about the processes of evaluation goes for all programs that I have already talked and I'm going to talk about. The other grant is Shastri COVID-19 Pandemic Response Grant, called for innovative solution. This grant is, introduced this year. This is a special competition, and for that matter, Shastri Research Grant, this is also a special competition for this year. Both these programs are enabling you to provide a project or a proposal concerning to this pandemic COVID-19. Now, the first grant, that is response grant, is a bigger grant, and this is a good effort of Shastri in terms of engaging with the other stakeholders as well. So for other programs, you will see that the prerequisite that you have to come from a member institution, and then the partners, all the partners that you are going to involve in your project are going to be from the member institutions itself. But for this program, we have understood that there need to be encompassing other players as well in terms of proposition that you may like to make. So if it's a technology solution, the bit of larger community you want to propose in, it may need you to go beyond your expertise and bring other expertise into your projects, for which we have allowed you to collaborate with industry, we have allowed you to collaborate with NGOs, we have allowed you to go further, and you may like to collaborate with government, or anything and everything is a possibility here for in terms of exploration. So you are most welcome to explore this grant. We have extended, there have been a lot of requests to extend the deadline for this program, which was 31st July. So now the last date is 17th of August. So you can still explore this, if possible, submit your application. While this is a solution provider grant wherein we are looking for some solutions to the challenge that this pandemic has thrown to us. The other grant, which is a smaller grant, Shastri Research Grant, which is a special competition for COVID-19, provides you an opportunity to deal with different groups of people, whether it's a migrant workers, whether it's a gender perspective that you want to build up, how gender have been affected by this pandemic, or industry, or for that matter, any any other group like ours. I mean, how higher education have been affected by it. So it's a more generic and program that is being offered by the name of Shastri Research Grant. You can go to the website and look for opportunities and details that that makes this grant possible for you to explore. The publication grant is open for student and faculty as well. If you have something on this corridor that you want to publish, the prerequisite is that 30 to 50% content has to come from Canadian side. So with this prerequisite, of course, you have to have a letter from your publication house, and it has to be a known publication house. Then we can consider your request. Of course, all programs that I am talking about are adjudicated programs. It's not based on your individual request. So there's an open window for programs to accept applications, and once the deadline is over, we undertake a review, and review takes 3 to 4 months time. And after that, we announce the result and you get the grant if successful. Membership development grant and membership.
I'm so sorry. I really hate to interrupt you.
Yeah, I know. I'm going further. So this is the last point that I'm going to make, that membership development grant and membership development fund are two programs that enables, you know, any institution to develop an opportunity or place an opportunity like this one, like wherein you can invite your scholars and faculty to participate in a dissemination program by which you can make them understand what Shastri is all about, what kind of programming we offer. So this is the program that you can make use of when you have to organize a dissemination session for Shastri Institute. I think I've taken much of time, so I will end here. If there's any further information that you need, we are very prompt in response. Please send your emails to program officers concerned. The details are stated on the website, and please send us your email and queries, and you will get a response from our side very soon. Thank you very much for your patient learning and patient hearing, and I look forward to answer if there are any questions. Thank you, Sachin.
Thank you, Dr. Prachi. That was a very comprehensive presentation, and I'm sure your presentation has actually preempted many questions that many of our presenters had, the participants had. So I don't think there will be many questions, but towards the end, we'll have like 5 minutes time to take some questions, which we have already received from the participants in our registration. Now, without taking much time, I would now move to my colleague and the second speaker of this session, Professor Sudha Mohan. Before Professor Sudha Mohan takes the charge of this floor, I just would like to mention that Professor Sudha Mohan, like my colleague and Associate Dean, Professor Manjari Kamath, rightly said, is a dynamic and very seasoned researcher and scholar in the field of political studies. She has been, she worked as professor and also head in the Department of Civics and Politics, University of Mumbai, and retired last year. And she has published nationally, internationally, and probably I will not be able to mention most of her contribution. She is also a recipient of several national and international awards and fellowships. I think she's the most suitable candidate for encouraging young scholars like us to plunge into research areas. So Professor Sudha Mohan, without taking much of your time, I welcome you and I request you to make your brief presentation. Professor Sudha Mohan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin, for a very, very generous introduction. Well, at the outset, let me congratulate Dr. Smita Shukla, who's the coordinator of IQAC in the University of Mumbai, Dr. Manjari Kamath, who's the associate dean, and of course, our young and dynamic Sachin Labde for organizing this very interesting and very, I think, much required webinar. My greetings also go to my co-panelist, Dr. Prachi Kaul from the Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute, who gave us all a very comprehensive presentation that this particular center has. I mean, they have some very valuable, relevant program. And also, I welcome our other young panelist, Dr. Anmol Datta. Well, I was awarded the Shastri Faculty Training and Internationalization Grant. I was affiliated to one of the most interesting, forward-looking universities in Canada, which was Ryerson University, for a month from May 4th to June 5th, 2018. I'll just start by saying that, the world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page, said St. Augustine, that I took rather seriously very early on in my career, academic career. For I believe that living, researching, studying, and teaching in other countries can actually go a long way in extending the frontiers of human mind. To me also, as an academic, I feel we all learn from several sources and resources, but I think one of the most important forms of learning is through exploring, experiencing, engaging, exchanging ideas and ideals, I think with both our peers nationally as well as internationally. Another part which I would like to share with this wonderful group of online young scholars and young academics is, even before the word globalization became a buzzword, I mean, I truly held the view that we all live in a world of interdependency, and therefore, as an academic, I always believed interdisciplinarity should be a critical part of our study. And therefore, the need to not perceive everything, just from a very own narrow peephole of civilization. And I think this is something which I would like to highlight over here. Another aspect academic I have always believed in, apart from trying to flag interdisciplinarity in almost all my research works, and especially in my projects abroad, I also believe that comparative analyses, comparing narratives and thereby contrasting discourses also assumes critical value. So understanding and replicating wherever possible, feasible and desirable, of course, after the necessary modification and adaptation, is, I think, key to any academic exchange or collaboration. So given this as the context of my presentation, let me just flag the 5 following points. The first one, to me, I would highlight this very categorically. The first one is a clear-cut research aims and objectives, along with research design and methodology of the research work, I think can never ever be overstated. So to all of you who are online with us, should you wish to apply for any of the various fellowship opportunities that Dr. Kaul very interestingly pointed out to us, and I'm sure by now you are encouraged enough and enthused enough to look at least a few of them, please bear in mind that you ought to have a very clear-cut research objective, aims and objectives of your research project. Apart from that, I think you also need to understand that most scholarship and scholars abroad like to know as to how you would want to go about fulfilling these aims and objectives. So therefore, along with clear-cut aims and objectives, one also needs to look at research design and research methodology. So irrespective of your research aims, your methodology ought to be also very, very clearly stated. I mean, for example, aims as in the normative, theoretical, policy-related concerns. How is it to be carried out? I mean, are you going to have mixed empirical methodologies, ethnography, content analysis, etc.? I will not really go into the specifics, but generally, I think the first two aspects of aims and objectives along with research methodology is very critical. Secondly, I think it's the, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So should I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. So secondly, I think it's the clarity of research objectives also that will determine both one's scholarship and professionalism in understanding whether somebody is applying for research or teaching pedagogy, or it could be a collaborative work. That will have, third, the potential in contributing to existing knowledge in your field or in your discipline. Fourth, I would like to state the soundness of research project, I think is of tremendous value, because it's the soundness of your research project that will value add and contribute to capacity building in host institutions or universities, should it be synergetically perceived. And finally, and the fifth, this kind of critical engagement alone will help in building internationalization of whether it's curriculum or teaching methodology, pedagogy, or academic work in general. I mean, I've listed these 5 parameters of a research project because let me just add a little note here. I think each one of these points that I have highlighted carries about 10 points each. Okay, so these are the 5 parameters of your research proposal, which needs to be very, very clearly stated. Now, in the second part of my presentation, I would like to briefly, highlight the following. Now, research projects, I have already mentioned, should be clear, lucid, minus the jargons. But I think it obviously should be also in the area of one's research expertise. And here I would like to add, it's always good for your research projects, as I again stated, again I would repeat, it's very important for your research project to be interdisciplinary and comparative in nature to make not just academics or scholarly sense, but also social sense, political sense, economic sense, in this very complex world that we are living in. So I would really like to also encourage scholars to not only quote from their own works, which is very significant, which also tells the institute that you have done work yourself in this particular area, and you have also established your scholarship in this area. So do not shy away from quoting your own works and your own resources. I think it's also important to share research project with affiliating professor of the host university that one is interested in visiting. I think only, this kind of shared research interest works out to be a kind of a win-win situation for scholars from both the home as well as the host university. I think it's very important, and I think it's mandatory to look at the thrust areas of the research centers or schools that one is interested in visiting, and also explore and check if one's research area or work aligns with the hosting department or school. I think this is very, very important because randomly, one cannot just want to be in a particular academic space. I think it's very important to let the host university know that you would bring in certain kinds of expertise, or you have certain scholarship that you would value add, to that particular school. And therefore, I know that many schools are very keen on having scholars on board and be part of their program if there is commonality of research interest, expertise, and exposure. And I think this also works very well for students who are applying to look at the professors and the research center or schools thrust areas. Last, apart from the scholarly networks, I would also like to emphasize the importance of connecting with the larger community in the country that we go to, and in this case, Canada. It's important to make friends and influence people, and to indeed, continue this collaboration, which is, I think, the most interesting and fascinating part of this academic journey. As our Associate Dean, Dr. Kamath, pointed out, I mean, these are relationships and friendships and collaborations that we have that transcend, all kinds of boundaries. And that happens if we connect, not just at the level of your head, but also a kind of a heart-to-heart relationship needs to be built. So to me, it's important to also humanize scholarship and to also engage in other pursuits. Now, I could say that for me, my other pursuit happens to be, I love cooking and sharing vegetarian cuisine and food, which I did for my newfound friends wherever I go, exploring and doing simple yoga, which I like doing myself, and deliberating and watching alternative cinema and plays. I think these have also been extremely gratifying indeed for me. Even now, in this very difficult phase that we are all in, many of my friends in Canada and I share the kinds of fascinating cinema or serial that we think we ought to watch. So just giving you an example to let you know how friendships can transcend the period of the fellowship, because one has really engaged in a much more meaningful manner. Finally, let me reiterate that an international fellowship of any kind can be a landmark experience and an exposure that enriches both personal and professional trajectories in unparalleled ways. Thus, the experience and wisdom that visiting scholars acquire and share through an interface with different cultures and traditions, of course, they leave a small but a very significant imprint on the world, which is beleaguered with all kinds of issues. Well, awareness of different perspectives leads one to understand that pain and pleasure, poverty and affluence, life and art, margin and center are all universal attributes. Besides, I think I can now reminisce with much joy these wonderful and memorable experiences with others who wish to pursue this path. So let me finally take this opportunity and wish you all the very best should you wish to embark on this fascinating transformative journey of learning, unlearning, interacting, collaborating. Thank you all the very best. And should you wish to have my inputs, I'm just an email away. Thank you for your very patient hearing. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sudhaji. This was a splendid session, and I must say that we are all spellbound by the session that you made it interactive with your expressions, and it is said like that is what my teachers used to tell me, that best philosophers in the world are those who can express in simplest of the languages. And this is what I found in your presentation, that while you're making your points, I think Dr. Prachi Kaul and even Anmol, we are constantly nodding our heads. Yeah, you're saying it exactly the way it should be. And it was really, you hit the nail right, on the spot. So it was amazing presentation. Thank you very much for sharing those points. And I'm sure young, I wouldn't call myself young, but research scholars young research scholars will definitely take a lot from this session. And again, I would reiterate that you also preempted many questions which were there, with on the participants' minds. So once again, thank you very much. And I'm sure, like towards the end, we might have a couple of questions which we will take, and I'm sure all of you would be, happy to respond to these questions. Though we have, exceeded our time limit, but today, fortunately, the university has been very kind to us and has asked, given us the permission to extend it by some more time. With I do understand that Dr. Prachi Kaul has a very busy schedule, but if she allows us, we will take some more time. And now we have our own homegrown scholar, our ambassador to the world and ambassador to Canada, Anmol Datta. Before I hand over this floor and this charge to her, I would like to very briefly introduce Anmol. Though I must admit that I can be very biased. I can be very, yeah, because Anmol has been, a wonderful, and proud product of University Department of English. So Anmol completed her MA Honors with Research in English from the University of Mumbai in 2019, and she was a Shastri Scholar at University of Western Ontario in fall 2019. She has presented papers at national and international conferences, and has several invited presentations to her credit. She is a first year PhD student. This is, I'm saying with all pride. She is a first year PhD student at the Department of English and Writing Studies, University of Western Ontario. This is, I must say, is the success story, and she is our trophy that we would like to kind of come around with. So this is a great achievement for not only Anmol Datta, but also for the university, that our proud scholar is at present pursuing her PhD in the university where she had opportunity to work as intern. And her research interests lie in film and media studies, post-colonial theory, and cultural studies. Her Shastri project is scheduled for publication. Another very proud thing for us is early next year by Rutledge. Taylor and Francis, if I'm not pronouncing it wrong, curse it on my bad pronunciation, South Asia popular culture. And her recent project includes a book chapter for a special edited collection, Asia Specific Screen Studies. My, I mean, this is for her age, and how can she carry such a scholarly burden with, all humility and that smile on her face? It's amazing, Anmol, your journey, and I'm sure this is just the beginning. And we see you, making a huge move. I'm also proud to say that because of Anmol, we are also now connected with Canadian universities, and there are her Canadian pals, her Canadian fellow students who have joined today in this webinar. So we welcome your friends as well. And without taking much of your time, Anmol, I would request you to make your presentation. Anmol, I'm really sorry. We really are running short of time, so I'll request you to stick to
Sure.
10 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Thank you,
Firstly,
Anmol.
sir, thank you so much for that flattering introduction. I'm really humbled and honored to be a part of the IQAC lecture series today. It feels extremely humbling to be a part and engage today where, so many luminary professors have engaged. So thank you very much. I am extremely grateful to you and it also feels kind of uh, overwhelming to go after Dr. Sudha Mohan has spoken so succinctly and so beautifully. I don't know how much I will be adding to that. Dr. Prachi Kaul has summed up everything that I think I was supposed to say, but I think I will try to make it say personal, and I will be sharing my personal experience and as a student. So my presentation will focus mainly on the student experience and how such a daunting experience cannot be as daunting if, if we're strategically going about it. So with your permission, I would like to present. And also, I feel like a con artist because Dr. Mohan said that I'm already, she called me Dr. Anmol Datta. So thank you very much, Dr. Mohan, for that. Hopefully, in a few years. But thank you for that belief. So I will be sharing the screen. And yes, sir. Is it visible, my presentation?
Yes, Anmol.
It is? Okay, perfect. Okay, so we begin. I would try to not make it very preachy. It's just my personal experience that I would like to share. So thank you. Like I mentioned, it's extremely humbling to be a part of this. I went to the University of Western Ontario last fall as as a visiting fellow to the Department of English, and I feel extremely grateful to be a part of the same department today and be a PhD candidate there. And I think I owe every bit of it to Shastri and to somebody like Sachin sir, who who pushes your application, which is also extremely imperative in a situation like this when you're a young scholar who's just starting out. So thank you very much. The research grant that I had acquired last year was Shastri Student Internship Project. It's called the SSIP. So as ma'am has already mentioned that it's a binational organization. So there are a few grants that are disbursed by SICI India and a few by SICI Canada. Mine was from SICI Canada, and I had the good fortune of visiting Western through that specific grant. So firstly, I would definitely urge you to please check the Shastri website very rigorously, because I think everything that you are looking for and everything that you would want to know is mentioned very succinctly and in detail in the website. So I would please urge you to do that. Ma'am, Dr. Kaul has covered absolutely everything, but I would still urge you, when you're thinking or considering applying for a grant, please look at everything that you would wish to know through the website. Ma'am has already covered the grants and fellowships that are dispersed by SICI India and Canada. The first prerequisite, I would say, is to know that your institution that you're applying from is a member institution. So there are a few institutions, like ma'am said, are member institutions. So please make sure that the university that you would want to go to and the university that you're applying for, the host and the home university, are in the member council of SICI. That's the only prerequisite, I feel. And as far as eligibility goes, I think you just have to be an Indian citizen if you're applying from India, and a Canadian citizen or PR resident if you're applying from Canada. There is no eligibility or strictures of age or any of that sort. You just have to be, I mean, good at what you do, of course, and you have to be able to be a cultural ambassador. You have to sort of wear your Indianness and also be fluid with the Canadianness. You also need to put that in your identity asset. So you need to be very fluid. I think that's the only prerequisite in eligibility. Of course, your research has to be very succinct and specific, but I'll come to that. Duration varies from, grant to grant, and I think ma'am has covered that, so I don't need to go there. This is where I want to spend some time with everybody. Contrary to popular belief, the application does not start when you are actually writing the grant or applying. It starts much before that. Your process goes on for a long time. The first thing that you have to think of or mull over is the potential university that you would like to go to. From my personal experience, I would suggest know your research field, know your research interests, and look at the universities or the professors in Canada, if you're applying from India, who share the same areas of expertise as your research interests. See whose research interests aligns with you. There are a number of luminary professors in all over Canada. Make sure that the university that you're looking at is a part of the member council of Shastri. If it is, and if the professors, areas of interest align with yours, please feel free to drop the professor an email. This is a must. A lot of work actually goes into writing this email because you have to draw an outline of your project. You have to know what your project is going to be. You cannot beat around the bush. You have to also tell them and let them know what would be a timeline of your project. I mean, right now we're in the middle of the pandemic, but in the future, when you're applying for it, obviously you will be flying to the other country, right? So it is mandatory to let the professor know, if they're interested, what your rough timeline of your travel will be, so that they're there to supervise you then. And when you're writing an email, I would please suggest you to read the works of the professors. These are all luminary professors. When I'm talking right now, I'm specifically addressing all the students who are looking to apply for the grant. So please make sure that you've looked at the profile of the professor and read a few of their works. So when you are writing to them, you should seem legitimate. They should know that what you are doing actually aligns with what they have done, so that they know they can guide you. Because I think the first prerequisite for you to send your application is a letter of invitation from the the host university, and that can come to you only if they know for sure that what you're doing is legitimate and what it actually reaches out to them and contributes to the department and the university, like Sudha ma'am mentioned. So please make sure that you do that. It's a very arduous process actually writing these emails. Don't feel disheartened if somebody does not get in touch with you, some of the professors. It's okay. Please move on. You have to move on to the next professor and make sure that you find at least a couple of them, so that you have a backup. Know for sure shot who you're going for, and just have a backup in case. I would strongly suggest this. Okay, so now we come to the main devil, drafting the proposal. Now, I would, from my personal experience again, like to mention that Shastri has no strictures of fields of interest. It's a very versatile international research organization which enables grants for all streams across disciplines. Somebody in the humanities, social sciences, STEM, everybody can benefit from it if your research project reaches out to them. You have to keep in mind that it's a binational organization. So you will have brownie points for if what you're doing reaches out to the Indian and the Canadian consciousness. I think it's very important that you have that sort of reach to both these countries' consciousness, and also, as ma'am Sudha ma'am mentioned, the economic, the political, the social consciousness of both these countries. So if that works out, I mean, great. The rest is, I mean, definitely would want to spend a lot of time on your research. Make it succinct yet detailed. Now, in academia, what we tend to do is, especially in the humanities, we tend to use these academic jargons which somewhere get evacuated in its essence. So if we know what you're doing, it reaches out to the other person. So you don't have to explain it or stress on it. Just be sure of your research project and translate that into your application. Sometimes you have to write a statement of purpose with the proposal, or sometimes it's exclusive. So I would suggest in your statement of purpose, you would, make it a little personal, You know why you're doing this. You know why you want this grant. Translate it into your application. Be very clear, yet when the adjudication committee sees your application, make sure that you reach out, right? They understand where you're coming from. So I would strongly suggest you making it a little personal in the statement of purpose, suggesting why you're doing what you're doing, how you're benefiting from it, right? As young scholars, we know exactly why we're doing what when we're applying for the grant, right? So very thought out process. So I would really, encourage you to think about it and translate it in your application. I know this seems a little, very cliche that do not keep it last minute, but as I don't know if it's a generational thing, but most of us definitely keep things for last minute, especially if it's too daunting. And definitely this is daunting. I'm never taking that away from you, but please make sure that you have enough time, so that there is a flexibility to your project, and so that you can ease a little into applying. Don't rush. Just make sure that you have enough time left, even before the deadline. So please make sure that happens. And again, everybody today has mentioned that we're cultural ambassadors, in the sense that when you're applying, you have to think of yourself as somebody who is representing your university abroad. It's a very different experience. It is, extremely enriching. So you have to make sure in your application that you give them that that comes across in your application, that you're able to do that. Mention some of your qualities or mention your past experience. I did that. They had a specific section in my application where they asked me if I have had any past experience with any global citizens or global students, and I did that. I mentioned that. It worked in my favor. Please make sure that it doesn't look like you're blowing your trumpet of any of that sort. Just make it very clear, concise, and honest. That will take you places. So these are the basic, I think, application requirements. I really don't think I should be spending time here, because since it's a binational organization, some of it will be by Canada and India, of course. Some will be operated via email. The other will be through the GMS portal. So you have to upload it online. So just make sure that you have these when you're applying for it. I think I should move forward, but I just want to mention that when you're providing your letters of recommendation as students, make sure that it is from two professors who have who have a structure to what they are providing for you, because that will go places and that will help you get selected, help you being looked at in a certain lens through the adjudication committee. So that will definitely take you places. This is after the completion of your grant. There will be funds that, so a percentage of the funds will be dispersed to you initially before your project, and a percentage will be dispersed to you later. Right now, during the pandemic, of course, it's different. Everything is different. No normal rules apply. So that varies a little, and I'm sure you will get to know everything when you look at the website. But make sure that you know what you're doing. You have to submit a project report after the end. I think that's a mandatory thing in every grant or fellowship that you receive. This then you have the option of disseminating your project, which is very ambitious, I must say. So if you're a student and if you think that you're ready to publish your project, please go ahead with it. It gives Shastri too much pleasure and pride when you are able to disseminate something that has come out from their expertise in funds. So please make sure that you reach out to them, you inform them, because I think a formal acknowledgement is necessary in all the research that comes out of funded projects. So just the basic stuff. this is where I think we've reached the end of my presentation, and this is where I would want to share something very personal with you. We as students, especially young scholars who are just stepping into the foray of academia, we suffer from imposter syndrome, and we feel like we might not be good enough, or we might need to do a lot better to, be good enough. Especially while writing a grant proposal, an international grant proposal, it is definitely going to, cross your mind. But make sure that irrespective of you getting the grant or not getting the grant, you will learn how to draft an international proposal. So that is obviously going to take you places. That is definitely going to come in handy when you're applying for it the next time, or when you're applying for maybe some other grant, right? So don't lose hope. I think I'm just reiterating everything that Sachin sir had told me last year, and it feels very preachy, but I think it's necessary to have someone to tell you this when you're applying for something so daunting. So please make sure that it's just an experience. If you get it, great thing to have on your CV. I think it's the most glowing thing right now on my CV. So please go for it. And it's extremely academically, culturally, and intellectually rewarding. When I was there for 4 months, that is exactly when I knew that I would want to pursue my PhD from that department, and that was okay. Sir wants to say something. Yes, please.
You've got 1 minute.
Right, I'm done. I'm absolutely done.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
No, please. So yeah, it's that's exactly when I knew that I would want to pursue my PhD from this department. This is exactly how it will help you to build contacts and network socially and academically. And I think it is imperative in any field to have that sort of confidence to present yourself in a certain way abroad, right? There's a certain pride that comes with it, and it's also very challenging. So make sure that um, you know what you're doing, and just have faith. I don't have anything else that I would want to share with you. It seems very preachy at this moment, but just have faith, and it will be rewarding in every other way, if you get it or you don't. So all the best to everybody who's preparing for it, and thank you for bearing with me for 15 minutes, I'm guessing. And sir, I stayed true to the time limit, so yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anmol. Thank you very much for this very lively session and sharing your experiences, Dil Se. So it was
Yeah.
wonderful, and you were very precise to the point, and you said exactly what a young researcher who is aiming and who is aspiring to apply for such grants should know. So once again, thank you very much. I
Thank you.
must acknowledge and admit this, that all the three presentations was so fascinating that probably 95% of the questions have already been answered and preempted through these presentations. For the remaining questions, we have only one answer, and which Dr. Prachi has already shared with us in the chat box, that please do visit SICKI website, and you have answers to all your questions. Besides, SICKI has been conducting wonderful webinars on various grants, and
Yeah.
they are bringing in experienced scholars and sharing their experiences and presentations, which are very, very helpful. So I guess those of us who are present here and who are willing to, and as Dr. Prachi rightly said, even 7 out of 70 are inspired to apply for these grants and fellowships. It would be a great achievement. But I guarantee, Dr. Prachi, that it will not be just 7, but probably more than 50 people will apply for these grants. So thank you very much once again, and thank you very much, Anmol. Um, uh, we have very less time to take questions, so I'm going to be I'll just pick up a couple of questions which have been quite pertinent, and my colleagues have asked these questions. One of these questions has come from my colleague from the Department of Applied Science, Applied Psychology, Dr. Umesh, and he would like to know is that are we supposed to establish a sort of networking with faculty members at host institutes in Canada prior to the application? And I think Anmol has, and also Professor Sudha Mohan and Dr. Prachi, they have responded to this question, and the answer is a definite yes. Another question has come from Dr. I'm so sorry, I'm answering all those questions. Another question has come
better
from,
job than me, definitely.
thank you. Another question has come from Dr. Mohini Gurav from Nasik, Sapkal University, and she would like to know is that what kind of publication should be published or is allowed, or is entertained in through SEAKI grants. So this question is directed towards Dr. Prachi Kaul, if she would like to respond to this. Dr. Prachi.
Yeah, thank you. The publication grant, I mean, first of all, I would like to say that all activities and programs that we offer, are member-centric. So you have to be coming in from, that's the prerequisite for us. So you have to be coming in from a member institution, whether it is from India side or Canada side. If you fulfill that, this particular publication grant allows you to publish a book, a monologue, policy paper, anything and everything that can contribute on this binational corridor. So you are most welcome, even if it's a storytelling that you want to bring out through this book. It is also possible if it has a content that deals with Canada and India. It can be 100% Canada as well, but it has to be Canada and India both. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prachi. And we have a question from my colleague, Dr. Jyoti Ramchandani, Associate Professor from the University of Mumbai, and she would like to know if there is any age limit, if we are applying for any of these grants or fellowships. So, Dr. Prachi, yeah.
Yeah, Sachin, thanks again. There's no age limit here. You just need to be a full-time faculty member at the member institution. Canada has no age limit for even retirement, from the university system. So this was a crucial decision that we have taken at some point of time back, that we will not put any age limit. We just want you to be coming in as a full-time faculty member from a member institution. That is it. Even nationality doesn't matter anymore for our programming. So even if you are a French national but studying in India or in Canada, you are eligible to apply for it without any age limit.
Thank you, Dr. Prachi. There was a question by Balraj Kaur, who is presently a research student at the Department of English, University of Mumbai. Though I would like to take this question and respond immediately, because probably this has already been preempted. But Balraj, your question is do these scholarships and grants only apply to international students, or they are applicable to in-house students who enroll into exchange program, or what is the duration? All these definitely are in-house students. Like Anmol has been a beneficiary, Lavanya has been a beneficiary. Definitely in-house students can apply and get benefited. And as far as the details are concerned, again, visiting SEAKI website, that's the treasure island. You can go and hunt for your own treasure, and you'll find answers to all these questions. So in all, most of these questions have already been answered. So I do not really have questions, though many of the participants have raised their hands, but I really am sorry. We are, running short of time, so we won't be able to take these questions. But as, yes, Dr. Prachi Kaul.
Yeah. Just wanted to say that if you think that your question was not answered, please don't be disappointed. Send a mail to us and we will respond back individually. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, I'd like to inform the participants that
so yes, Dr. Mohan wants to.
Dr. Mohan,
yeah.
Can I just say a few? Can I just say something?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, as someone who has been the recipient of this is no wish of mine to be bombastic or pompous, but then, as a recipient of several fellowships, let me on record, say this very categorically that the Indo-Shastri Institute is one of the most open, vibrant, flexible, and also is pretty open-ended. And B, I think their website is one of the best. For any kind of question or query or doubt that any one of our participants would have, please go through the website right away. And I'm sure all your questions and queries and doubts will be answered over there. And that's all I wanted to say, I mean, this has been one of the most vibrant and open-ended fellowships that I have come across. So just adding, Dr.
Very true. Very true.
Absolutely.
Dr. Sudha
So
Mohan.
can I please add just a little to what Dr.
Yes,
Mohan said?
Yes. Yes.
So the department that I went in, my supervisor herself, Dr. Nandi Bhatia, had been a Shastri fellow. There were a couple other people at the department who had been Shastri fellows, and a few other professors as well, when I had written to them, had been Shastri fellows. So it is so far reaching and it is yet so accessible. So please, I mean, if you go to the website, like, which is why Dr. Mohan also suggested right now, and I had also mentioned rigorously in my presentation, that just look at the website rigorously, and I think half your job is done and you're through. And please, I mean, consider applying for this fellowship because it is extremely rewarding and fulfilling.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anmol. Thank you, Dr. Sudha Mohan. And before I hand over the charge to another scholar who has joined us, to propose vote of thanks, and bright scholar from the Department of English, University of Mumbai, who is the recipient of this year's student grant, Lavanya. Before I hand over the charge to her, I just have a couple of announcements for the participants, that we have the presentations of Anmol and Dr. Prachi Kaul with us, and we will be sharing these presentations with you. Besides, the link will be available by tomorrow on YouTube, and you will be able to share this link with your colleagues, your friends, and your students, and help them benefit from these grants. And as far as the feedback link is concerned, since you have been very patient with us for the last 3 days, we would request you to continue and extend your patience by a couple of hours more, and you'll receive the link to share your feedback. And as soon as you do that, you will also receive a certificate of participation. Before now finally handing over charge to Lavanya, I request my colleague, Dr. Smita Shukla, if she wishes to add to this before we close this, because this is the last day and last session of our webinar series. Dr. Smita Shukla.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Sachin. I'd like to say a very brief, which I like to know, comment and a statement which I like to make. So I have known you as colleague and young colleague at University Department now for several years. Never had an opportunity to work with you, and this is I think for the first time that we were working together, and my entire experience of working with you has been wonderful. And similarly, I assume, and I am sure also, that all those who participated during these 3 days of interaction with the various winners of fellowships and scholarships, which we hosted, I and Dr. Sachin hosted together on behalf of IQAC University of Mumbai, as well as Shastri Indo-Canadian Center. For them also, it has been a wonderful experience. And we'll continue to do similar programs in future as well. That is all what I like to say. Dr. Sachin, it has been an absolute privilege and nice kind of experience, wonderful experience to work with you. And once again, thanks to Dr. Prachi Kaul, Dr. Sudha Mohan, Dr. Manjari Kamath, Dr. Miss Anmol Datta, and all the registered participants of today, yesterday and day before that. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now I hand over the floor to Lavanya, our young scholar, to propose vote of thanks. Lavanya.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, everyone. It's been a very fascinating and engaging webinar series on international research scholarships and grants. On behalf of Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute's University Center, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to everybody who made this series successful. First of all, my heartfelt thanks goes out to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Suhas Pednekar, and Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Ravindra Kulkarni, for their extensive encouragement and for being solid support systems. A huge thanks to our guest of honor, Dr. Manjiri Kamath, Associate Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Professor in the Department of History, for sparing her precious time to deliver her remarks. I also wish to express my gratitude to Dr. Prachi Kaul, Director, Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute, for enlightening us with attractive scholarship opportunities for researchers to pursue research in India or Canada. There was a lot of substance to take back home, ma'am. Further, I'm grateful to Dr. Sudha Mohan, former professor and head Department of Civics and Politics, for sharing her knowledge as a proficient researcher. As you said, the most important form of learning is through experiences. It was really informative, ma'am. I must also mention our deep sense of appreciation for Ms. Anmol Datta, a PhD student at Western University, Canada, for delivering such an insightful and enriching presentation. I'm sure it has motivated and inspired many students and researchers to take up such projects and internships in the future. I'm also very grateful to Dr. Smita Shukla, Coordinator IQAC, for her enormous cooperation and support in the organization of this event. I extend my thanks to Dr. Shrivar Mangai, Director at University Computerization Center, for her contribution and incredible support. Special thanks to the people who have been the backbone of the event, Mr. Rohit Chaube from the technical support team and student volunteers from Alkesh Dinesh Modi Institute, led by Mr. Parth Salunke, for designing flyers and certificates, as well as coordinating during the sessions. Heartfelt thanks for your invaluable contribution. I would also like to acknowledge our gratitude to faculty members from various departments and centers of the University of Mumbai for gracing us with your presence. An active participation of student researchers from the university departments and participants from various universities and colleges is highly appreciated. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Over to you, Sachin sir.
Lavanya, thank you very much for this wonderful vote of thanks. And once again, I thank all the scholars, all the speakers who have joined us. With the permission of the organizer, Dr. Smita Shukla, I announce that the program is closed.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Sachin.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you all and best wishes to everyone. Thanks.